we're return of the outlaws here. We're going a return episode of the podcast for Rumble, YouTube. So let's just get into it. We got Lucky Kaiser, we got Oath Reaper, and we got Randall. And fuck all the pleasantries. Let's get into it. Randall, you've got something going on here that we've been spending some time talking about. And pitch it.
All right, so we have a constitutional camping trip. It's going to be going on October 27th through 29th. Right now we have 3 locations. One is going to be in Missouri, Arizona, and then we also have South Carolina that's getting on board. We want more locations. The idea is to hopefully have this in all 50 states. We have thousands of people that are jumping on board with this. The goal is here to sit down, have civil discourse, and come to a complete, unified resolution on how we fix the fucking problems that are going on in this world. We need a fist. We don't need splayed fingers, because fingers get broken. Fists break shit. So what we need is to come together. We need to have supply lines in place. We have to have supply lines in place. If we don't have supply lines in place by the time January 1st rolls around, that brick shit hits with everything else going on, how are we going to feed our families? That's just a realistic question. So we have to get this done, and we have to get it done sooner than later.
It's time to start bringing all the different pieces of the puzzle together.
Like, I've got a breeding population of turkeys. I've got a breeding population of guineas, and I've got a breeding population of chickens. I plan on trying to provide anybody I can with chickens, guinea fowl, and turkeys over the coming months, just based upon the fact with those, you have the ability to produce biodiesel, you have the ability to feed your family. There's certain things with that just give you peace of mind. And we have to get to where we can support each other and tell the government, you know what, you haven't been taking care of us in over 100 years.
We're going to start taking care of ourselves.
So fuck off. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
The whole point of this is get together. It's civil discourse. We're practicing our First Amendment. We're practicing literally the right to free speech, the right to assemble, and the right to travel. Those are constitutionally protected. We're not doing anything to get violent. We just want to be able to protect ourselves.
And it's just a little camp out. Whatever,
that's exactly what it is. It's just a camping trip. We're getting together.
Whether it's a public property that's a campground or a private property that an individual that wants to host it, wherever. Implementing all the things that we talk about, man. Getting those communities, those people, the communications back up, because we know eventually this isn't going to be viable. Like, it's time to stop with all the pleasantries and just cut through the bullshit, and I'm willing to do that, and you guys all seem like the type of people that are willing to do it. So, for those who have ears, let them hear it, and let's see if there are people genuinely out there willing to put their money where their mouth is and come together for that unity, and rather than just sit and bitch and talk about the problems in circles, start discussing how we solve the fucking problems, because be the change you want to see.
As far as the camp out, or like the constitutional camp out you're talking about, is it something that we would do on like private property?
Depending on where you're at, like I said, different states have campgrounds that people can access in and of themselves. Some of it might be private property if someone's willing to host that and has the space available for people. However it plays out, but that's the sell. That's where it starts, right? And then we start setting up the communications with those places, and we start setting up the networks and getting shit moving with people that are willing. It's grassroots. It's complete voluntarism, and I wish James was here. It's completely voluntary. Do you want to be a part of this, or do you not want to be a part of this? Because you're either a part of the problem or you're a part of the solution, and we're looking to be the solution in and of ourselves. We keep talking about needing to get away from the dependence on the system. We keep talking about all these different things and all these different ideas. Let's discuss these ideas. Let's fucking start implementing them with the people that are actually willing to put their money where their fucking mouth is, so to speak, through action, right?
I'm just trying to get an idea. It's something I'd like to do here towards.
What's the background there? Is that you, Kaiser?
No, I don't.
Are you hearing loud chirping?
Oh,
if you're hearing loud chirping, that's my guinea fowl. I apologize. Those are guineas. If you want to hear the turkeys, I just got to cluck at them and I can get them to gobble. But
it's not. Here's the thing: it's not just this camp out thing, because there's another guy by the name of PJ Harris that it's about implementing it at different levels. This one idea at any given point can be implemented across a spectrum of ways, right? So, for example, the concept of having this constitutional camping trip, that's great for those who can feasibly do it. But what about for those who can't? All right, well, let's get it on every fucking app. PJ Harris.
We're trying to work on something with that. Something that we've been mentioning in every video that myself and he goes by Gnostic Pagan Alchemist. He actually asked if he could join this call. He's setting up an Instagram right now. Once he has that set up, if you guys want, I'll send him the information so we can get him looped in.
Well, yeah, if he gets on there, send him my way so that we can hook back up, sit down, and have a conversation just like this, and let's really do it, because the conversations between me and him were really good. Like I liked the guy, but he seemed there were times where we seemed to go in circles, and maybe it was just we were misunderstanding what one another were saying. That's it. That's fucking it. Like.
And that's exactly what it was. I read through the conversations. I told him the same thing I told you. You guys are almost the exact same man.
I'm autistic.
You're younger than he is. Okay, we're both autistic. He's autistic. We've
Everybody
got ADHD.
is.
We've got all the fucking whatever. We got the alphabet soup going on, but it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with us. We're just extraordinary individuals.
That's the thing. I couldn't really understand why me and him were clashing like that, because we're on the same fucking page, it seems. What the fuck happened there? Like, it was like, yeah, we were feeding off of one another, and something just went out left field, and I'm like, hey, wait, how the fuck did you get to this point?
And me and him have had conversations like that before. Jason is a cantankerous individual. He's experienced a lot of the same shit you experienced. If you have read military textbooks, you've read his name before. He goes by the code name Big Green Mean. If you've read anything on U.S. military history, you've probably read about him before.
Okay.
At least Middle Eastern warfare.
All right. Well, like I said, it'll be nice to get, because like I said, the conversations that me and him had, they were in depth, and they were deeper than I was able to have with a lot of other people as well. Like they were good conversations and back and forth and dialogue. So it'll be nice to get that back again. He did try to get with me over when I was on TikTok, but I had to be careful who I had around, because I was trying to make the account last as long as I could under the circumstances.
That's why I don't follow anybody back over there, really, unless they fucking messaged me. If you haven't messaged me, if I don't know what you're about, fuck off. I figured out a long
time ago, I couldn't be bought. I couldn't be turned away from what I was saying. I couldn't. And I realized that that's why I wasn't allowed to keep an account over there. It's just that simple. So it's fine. I'll go to where it's making a difference, because the open dialogue over here on Instagram that I've had, the people that I've found since being over here, you guys have now met a couple of them. Randall, you'll really get to meet some of them. Like these were some of the people that I've come across, and I'm slowly filtering more in that I've met on Instagram, because like I said, it's about building that community, that network of people that are all there on the same page. We don't have to agree. We don't have to do it, but we have to. The common ground is that we're in pursuit of that freedom and that liberty and that ability to keep ourselves sustained and alive through whatever they fucking throw at us.
Yeah, definitely.
Most anything they throw at us.
This is about something deeper than just ourselves and what we're dealing with here and now in today. It's about what we're leaving to future generations, and that's where we need to be thinking from.
It's about circling the wagons, so to speak. I mean, that might be really old terminology, but if we don't circle the wagons, if we don't bring people together and make that fist, we're fucked. Because we won't have the food, we won't have the gas, we won't have
shield walls.
God damn it, we won't have anything we need.
We're heading into sparse times, and we're and Spartan times. And it's just one of those things. The only reason, like, even if you go back and look at it historically, the Great Depression, Nobody's saying we're not in a recession or even heading towards a depression or would collapse, whatever you want to say. What was it that made those people able to make it through it when they went back and people used to do interviews? I remember hearing about it as a kid and seeing the news interviews where they were, how did you guys make it through? And we pulled together.
Yep.
Right? Our founders
You ask people that lived in rural America what their life was like during the Great Depression, they say they ate out of the garden, they ate from food their neighbors provided. They survived. They did okay.
They lived
You talk to
together
those
and
people
made it
that
work.
you talk to those people in big cities, it was hell. They were basically internment camps. They were struggling to survive. And the thing is, as many people as we can save from what's coming, we need every last person that's willing to fight that we can get.
And here's
So
the
the more
thing,
people that
we
we
all
can
know and
protect, the
recognize
better.
we all know and recognize that what they need in order to implement, like what the end goal is for the enemy, right? We already know what the end goal is for them. So we need to devise plans based on what's happening to counter those things. And one of those things is leveraging ourselves. Most people are dependent on these systems of control, the convenience, the stores, all these things. We need to be able to supply these things without them having to go to those things of path of least resistance. It's time that we start taking care of our own goddamn people, their needs, their self-sufficiency from the community on up. And there's so many people out there that are like mine that share the shit that they're passionate about. So let's pull these people together and give people information on how to get from point A to point B. Let's get people set up to be self-sufficiency. Let's pool ourselves, our knowledge, because the last lines of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, whatever it is, we pledge our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor to one another. That we're pledging ourselves to this fucking cause, and it's time to find the real. When I came back to TikTok, it was separate the real from the fake, the critical thinkers from the fucking people that blindly follow it, because it's the people that genuinely are here and at that point that are the ones that the message is for to begin with.
Well,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
talking in circles, man, like talking in circles like that, and bitching and complaining about everything that's going on and not doing anything ain't going to get you nowhere. Hey, eventually you're going to have to do something, and the writing's on the wall. We all know what's going to happen. It doesn't matter how much you bitch about it. You're not going to keep it from happening. It's going to happen. So, you look at the way cities.
It's a matter of when now.
Yeah.
You look at the way cities and everything else is set up right now, man. Like, you've got tops. Like, if the bottom fell out today, you would have tops 3 days before the city would be out on the outskirts of the suburbs.
Yeah.
Out here.
Yeah. But this is the thing. People are like, and this is something we recognize, because we acknowledge that a lot of people are what we call sheep, but we got to understand the pathological behaviors of this shit, right? It's people are like electricity. Everything fires on electrons and neurons in the brain, and what it is this path of least resistance. And we've been
I've got something huge I need to say when you're done, Rob. Sorry.
We've been conditioned our whole lives to take this path of convenience, or what we've been led to believe are convenience, but we're nothing more than the fucking chains that keep us bound to this garbage that kills us slowly but surely. When we understand that, we realize that these people are just victims of the psychological warfare, the indoctrination. It's not their fault. They're not our enemies. So we have to be the path of least resistance. We have to give them that alternative. If they don't have the example or the place or see it working, how can you expect people to commit to it? So we need to be the example that inspires others to want to do it.
And this is what this chains exactly into what I'm about to say. Guinea fowl, shut the fuck up. God damn it. I'm going to walk around to the backside of my house so I don't fucking have to listen to them. They're still going to be loud, but they won't be as loud. What's going on in our country has been going on at least since the beginning of the 2000s. And this is what I'm going to point at. So stick with me here. This is going to be a little convoluted, but stick with me. The human brain requires certain levels of proteins during development in order to develop physiologically properly. If it does not have the right level of amino acids and the right proper balance of fats, it will not develop properly.
Hold on.
As such, by causing malnutrition in the human,
You're
can cause a malformation of the brain, causing vast ability to quote unquote MK Ultra motherfuckers.
Yeah, but you're cutting in and out, so you might want to have to get somewhere where you can get stable there, so that you can re-say that, because some of that was cutting in and out.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay, my Wi-Fi router's on the front side of the house. I was on the back side of the house. That's what's going on. So I'm gonna have to stay here. But with malnutrition, the human brain doesn't form properly. That's the baseline of what I was getting at. Over the last 20 years, I can just about prove that the meat you've been buying from the grocery store wasn't actually meat, unless it had a bone in it. The vegetables were fucked with. Everything was genetically modified.
Well,
that genetic modification was meant to cause malnutrition. The malnutrition caused an issue with the neurochemistry, which results in all of these people unable to critically think, all of these people unable to use logic, and all of these people that are even so fucking confused, they don't know which bathroom to use.
And here's the thing, it makes absolute sense what he's saying logically, when you really think about it logically, because I need you to understand just how much meat they would have to produce on just on a monthly basis to keep up in constant production to feed just McDonald's alone, like the way that McDonald's does the waste, that the stuff that doesn't sell in the grocery store, that goes bad or gets tossed. Think about it realistically, the number of people that need to be fed versus the amount of waste versus the amount of production needed, because it's in constant, ever flowing production. How is there enough? How is there ever enough produced to keep that machine running feasibly? There's not. Something's not quite right with that. It don't make sense when we take a second and really think about it. Like, yeah, we've got commercial farming, but I'm looking at the potential numbers there, the reality of it, and I'm like, wait a minute.
How many tons of potatoes does the globe produce annually?
Off the top of my head, I don't know the numbers.
It's just about 100 million short of a billion on tonnage. So far as the overall tonnage of potatoes goes, from what I'm aware of, there might be a little bit more now, but I do know that over 300 million more pounds of potatoes are sold annually in the U.S. than are actually produced.
That's freaking crazy. It's actually, yesterday I heard something about that new that bio meat that they're coming out with, and about the way that artificially produced meat and like what it's actually made of. And evidently there was 2 cancer patients that had like some weird type of cancer that's only happened twice in 2 different people through, like, in the 20th century, and they basically reproduced cancer cells that happened in those 2 cancer patients, and that artificially produced meats are actually artificially produced human meat.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, we know they've found human meat in various different fast food chains, from Wendy's to McDonald's production facilities.
Gotta look long for it.
If it's got the human DNA in it, like he's talking about, I've heard some of that stuff. I haven't heard all of that, so some of that was a little bit new information to me, but it connects some of the dots. So with that, where there's human DNA in the lab-produced meat, and there's human DNA in every fast food joint's chicken and beef, where do you think that meat came from?
Yeah, artificially produced meat.
And well, even on a more realistic scale, we already know, it's been confirmed what they're planning on doing. They're planning on vaccinating the very food chain anyways. Okay, so we genuinely need to consider and plan for this kind of shit, so that people that are genuinely I'm not going to allow this, I'm not going to feed into the digital system, because we know the potential, we know the reality of an economic collapse too. Okay, so we need to start getting used and creating systems that don't rely on the money to get shit going. Use it while we can, and you get enough people, and me and him were talking about it earlier. This is genuine. Let's just say you get 100,000 people, right? Anybody can scrape a buck up in a minute, but you start with that 100,000 people and you go one by one by one by one by one, and you set every single one of them up.
Yeah.
And then repeat
Self-sufficient,
the
to where they
cycle.
have their own fuel and food. They've got their own fuel, they've got their own food, they're able to actually produce and contribute to the rest of everybody in the group.
And there's so many people out there with such great, awesome ideas and content and what they're doing to gain self-sufficiency out there. We find those systems and find a way to do it for either as cheaply as possible or nothing at all. Like the shit that you have, it's scrapping time, it's foraging time. It is literally it's not cannibalized time, but it really is. It's that time where we start making do with whatever and everything that we can feasibly. Waste not, want not, and work together, because together we can accomplish a hell of a lot more than we can individually. And we need to be there to prevent as much of the chaos from ensuing when this shit hits as possible. Because if we don't stop the chaos, it gives them the justification to enact and do the things that they want to do. So we need to be that calm and level head that prevails. Like, realistically, me and him were talking, when the shit hits the fan, let the stores be raided, let all that shit, but we find those people that need help and we make sure that they're good. We do that shit. We take care of those communities. We get those people that have that in mind. And you put them in connection with the preppers. You put them in connection with these people and that people. And we get people to a place that is feasible for them, case by case. And we start getting this shit. How can we get this person where they need to be each and every time? The shit that they need. It's literally teaching everybody everything that we've been, and trying to enact everything that we've been trying to talk about in all of our content.
And one of the first meetings at this constitutional camping trip, one of the ones we're going to broadcast so everybody can see it, is how to make your own AM receiver and AM broadcaster. It's completely legal, something you can do using a broken microwave. And with that, we would have the ability to set up junction stations to relay messages if cell phones are to go down, if the internet and everything else goes down. Again, this is not an attempt to overthrow the government. What this is an attempt to protect ourselves.
Hey, so I have a broken microwave.
There we go. We've already got one potential relay station. We could sit here and go through it and step by step make a video of it for people to follow, and you can make the first one.
Not only that, Rob knows I got a 5G tower right over the hill past my house. So that's going to be my first.
You can bounce a lot of stuff off of that and use it to boost signals and all sorts of shit. And when the grid goes down, when Verizon goes down,
while everyone's out raiding stores, I'm going to go raid that fucking tower.
That's exactly. When everything's going down, you pull the stuff off that tower for broadcasting, and you'll be able to broadcast across basically the whole fucking country with that equipment.
Well, that's the Discord is back on, and you guys all know I'll talk to you individually. It's about trying to put that information and freely disperse it to the people that need it by getting the information together for people that don't have it or don't know in an easy to see format, and get that information into their hands so that they can get caught up and figure this stuff out. Because there's a lot of people that have never been into any of this kind of stuff, but that are now realizing what's happening and overwhelmed and don't even know where the fuck to start. Well, let's help them get on that path, and let's get them to that point. And it's not for profit. It's not for any of this shit. It's an absolute necessity. If we do not start coming together and making this shit happen, we're not going to make it. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm not interested in just surviving at this point. I want to fucking win. They fucked me over and everybody else over so bad that I will not settle for anything less than a fucking win.
Yep.
Dude, they fucking killed me 4 times. If you don't think I want some vengeance for that, then I don't know who you've been talking to.
There is a time and place for everything, and before that, we must make sure that everything that we're fighting for in the first place will survive it. Because we have no friends.
That's why we have
all
to
we've
circle
got
the
is
wagon.
us. There's no resupply. There's no backup coming. The rest of the world will not deal with us. We now have to do this shit ourselves.
Yes.
And our government's
And
hung
even
us
though
so out
everyone's
to
all
dry.
freaked out about a nuclear war,
They're not going to do
that's
that
really
because they
not
don't want to
even
destroy the
exactly.
very networks and
They won't
systems that
break
they
the
need
crown
to
jewel.
control. They need all these
They
Exactly.
won't
systems to
destroy the
control.
crown jewel.
Yeah.
They will not destroy the
That's what I
crown
was gonna
jewel.
say.
America
There's
is the
not,
crown jewel.
and I even had to explain this to someone the other day. They're like, well, they bombed Hiroshima with a nuke. I was like, no, that was an atomic bomb. Big fucking difference.
Yeah.
Big fucking difference. A nuclear bomb would have wiped out Hiroshima and about 30 other countries around it.
Starboy,
Fucking-
welcome, brother.
What up, what up?
Turn that camera on. Let's see that beautiful
yeah.
mug.
So we don't have to worry about nuke war. We just got to worry about.
We don't
And
hide
it's
ourselves.
happening right now.
We don't
They're
hide our
setting-
faces.
They're doing it right now. They're setting fires. They're fucking.
I'll be in a minute. I'm actually
kicking
taking care of some
everybody in.
paperwork, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Does
Go ahead,
anybody
I'm
here
sorry,
mind
Kaiser.
if I throw? Does anybody here mind if I throw Jason an invite? If you guys don't, I'll throw him an invite because
If
he's
he's on-
the
yeah,
one that
send-
knows how to make the radio. Okay.
Send him an invite. Actually,
Hey, talking about it.
what's it? I don't know. I don't know if it's only my friends list that I'll be able to search. But
We were talking about
He just followed you and me and a couple of other people, is what he's saying. I'm asking him what's his ID.
see
Anyway,
if you can invite him in here. I might
back to
have.
the
I
main
might have
show.
to pop out.
I have the ability to throw him an invite. I just need to know what his ID is.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
asked him what his ID is, and I'll throw him the invite once I have his ID. But yeah,
Yeah,
because he
get
knows
him
how to
in.
make those radios. He knows a lot of shit I don't know, and the shit he doesn't know, I know a lot of that shit. So that's part of why we've been able to really get this video to take off and get this idea to take off.
Well, I
finally found a show.
I know quite a few people that are over on TikTok that when I initially started talking about something similar like this back when I started trying to do it, that were interested in it and would be willing to offer information or maybe even participate or whatever. But it's at any level that you feel, whether it's offering information or being a part of the pushing of that information or directing people to it, or even freaking part of the supply chain or one of those stations in and of themselves. You want to play with the radio and those kinds of things. At any and every level and every bit of skill and knowledge, it has value. So let's put it to use. Let's bring those people together, because there's people that are willing to learn too.
yeah, communication, and I can't stress that enough, dude. Like, you can't network, you can't have anything. It's all of that's hinged on communication. Every last bit of it. You have to have that. You have to know how it functions, and it can't be something that's connected to the internet like this. Because if that's shut off, you have no way to communicate with each other.
Exactly.
If cell phone service goes down, you have
lines of communication are important. Now, let's be honest, because we want every aspect of this too. You want the ham radio operators or the people that have access or can get them, because there's nothing illegal about listening in on ham radio. It's broadcasting that's the problem for them. But when shit hits the fan, those things don't apply. We can use those types of things and disseminate to the lower bands all the way down to the citizen band. Okay? But we also have to make sure that the people that need it, that it can get into their hands, or the people that want to involve can either get access to it, because a lot of this stuff is relatively cheap and you can buy it relatively easily. And yes,
or just go to your local junkyard and grab it for free if they let you. Straight up.
No, but here's the thing: it's little shit like that there's like we
dumpster dive for shit. Fuck
right,
that.
but this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of shit out there that people don't know or don't know how to get a hold of or don't know how to do things that it might seem simple or easy to us, but everybody understands from their level of shit. And some people have it. Some people are just now figuring shit out, man. So being willing to impart and teach that information, that's the shit that matters at this point.
I just threw Jason an invite. He might be able to join you. What the fuck? I just had 12 turkeys flying at me, and they were all at about head level, hence the what the fuck. 12 turkeys in the air flying at you is a bit of a why? But no, Jason should be joining. But everything that Rob is saying is 100% accurate. We have to have the ability to support ourselves and communicate amongst ourselves through various different means because we have no idea what's going to get completely disconnected. We also need to have the ability to fuel ourselves. And when I say fuel, I don't just mean, say, diesel that's going to work in a diesel vehicle to transport goods from point A to point B and get people from point A to point B. I mean also having the ability to generate power in one means or another so that we can use those sorts of communication devices that go long distance.
I've got several ideas for relatively easy kits because I did take electrical theory. I took some vocational courses in becoming an electrical technician, and I still have all my course study work that I can that I often go over. And one of the things that I've been playing with is either an alternator or two, and using low voltage power systems like in your campers and stuff like that for your lighting that don't draw a whole lot of voltage or current, hooked up in sync with alternators that take 12 volt current and jump it up to 120, right? The technical, some people will understand and others won't, but there's some things that I've been playing with that I want to try and toy with and see if they're feasible to use. It's not going to power shit like your refrigerator, but let's say your electricity goes out and other little shit, you've got feasible means to give yourself enough power to, say, use your USB flashlights and recharge them, because batteries are a finite resource. Even these are finite resources, but if you can give yourself power, it gives you another little tool that can be used for something, right?
See, but that's why I'm reading into the Tesla power shit, because you can literally harness energy from the fucking air without needing fuel of any kind. So that's
there's a lot. This is another thing that I mean. There's a lot of people that are experimenting with these different types of things. Put them all together and compare notes. And hey, I tried this, and this is the result I got. What does anybody else have as far as this? Instead of speaking from
Rob,
like I know this to be true, this is what I've done. This is what I've got.
Want me to blow you guys?
Rob, I tried pulling Jason.
Just real fast. We're all of the age. I was cleaning my truck, and look what I found. It's ancient.
Holy fuck!
Blockbuster receipt, bro.
How do you have a Blockbuster receipt in your truck? When was the fucking last time you cleaned that truck, dude? Holy shit! But Rob, I sent you Jason's profile. If you can try and invite him.
I'm trying to get him in.
He's never really used Instagram, so I threw him the invite. I told him to check his messages.
I'm trying to get him in here, but he's at the bottom of the damn thing, and I'm trying to click on him. Invite. I don't have him in. Nope. God damn it.
Someone came in.
That's him. That's Jason.
There we go. All right.
That's his profile picture. Fucking finally. God damn.
Right now.
It's from you.
But yeah, it's about starting to put the things that we talk about at various points in our content into actual feasible, usable action in various ways. And that's open to more discussion too in various things. Different ideas come out, and then they spurn and inspire other ideas that are implemented in different ways. And but that's the whole point. It's about collaboration, cooperation, and it's all about doing it for the common fucking cause. And that is, we will remain fucking free one way or another. Right? And that does, this is the thing that people need to understand, is that our own inherent individual liberties hinge upon our willingness to defend them and everyone else's around us. If we allow one person to be stomped on, it's only a matter of time before someone comes to put that boot on our neck. And that's why even if we fucking can't stand people, we got to be able to work with them and ensure that they're getting the same level that we're getting.
And with every stage of beard length that we have going on right here, we can accomplish anything. Anything at all.
This is diversity
every
here.
Stage of beard length in one screen. It's an omen, dude. We're on it.
We've got diversity all rolled into one.
That's right.
Fuck all of your beards. Fuck you all.
Yeah.
I just shaved mine off like a couple weeks ago because I'm in Arizona. It gets hot. I don't wear
This
it
is
through
a
the
baby
summer too
beard.
much.
It's not even a year old yet.
This is only a couple weeks.
It's good to see you again, and it's actually good to see your face now because we've talked quite a bit over a multitude of accounts. So it's good to see you again.
Yes, we have. I was kind of wondering if you dropped off or whatever, and then Random told me he'd been talking to you and shit. So.
I shifted 5 months ago. I shifted over here to Instagram because I realized I was never going to be allowed to keep an account over there. And I tried to grab.
I had 4 things pulled today so far after my video that got somebody promoted one of my videos and it's in like 15,000 or something views.
Nice.
And then lo and behold, all of a sudden 4 things from June pop up and they start taking shit down. It was a comment and 3 videos they took down from June. Yeah, they don't want me talking on there any more than they want you talking on there. I just haven't given up yet.
I really, well, that's the thing. I cross far too many lines for the powers that be in the control systems that are over on TikTok. I can't, it's not TikTok killing me, and I've known that for a while. So I've
It's
exposed
false flag patriots.
Yeah, I exposed far too much of this shit over there. And how it's being controlled and how the system is playing us through these apps too. Okay? Because the message is just being it's just a watered down version of the mainstream narrative. What are they still doing? They're still all bumping these political parties. They're still all bumping these different.
Well, one of the reasons why me and Randall got the idea to host this in-person stuff is because there's certain things we just can't talk about. They won't go through.
And that's why I want to use various other platforms, but that requires getting people to be willing to make that change. And a lot of people don't want to do it because of the community aspect that they have on TikTok. But let's bring that community and those real people, those like-minded people, not the shady ones, not the fucking fakes, the ones that actually show the character and the willingness to put in the effort and the willingness to have perspectives challenged and open dialogue without all the dumb shit. We need to stop talking in circles about what the problems are and start talking about the solutions and getting some actual feasible movement on those solutions.
We've known what the problems are. But one of the problems that we know of is getting everybody off their ass. Nobody wants to give up TV. Nobody wants to give up their smartphone. Because if shit hits the fan, all this goes out the window. So then we teach those people to use that to their advantage to work for others. Instead of using it as a lazy form, then we use that to teach them to...
We know what the problems are. Let's make it easy. We were talking earlier about how people are like electricity. That's how the brain works, pathways, fires, neurons. It's the path of least resistance, right? So let's make it the path of least resistance for you to come and join this cause, because the ultimate fucking purpose of it is freedom and liberty for all. You can live how you want to live. Just don't infringe on anybody else.
I was just talking to somebody that wants to one of the camps, but she's not sure how she can make it. She's on she's on government assistance, living in an apartment and stuff, and has no idea. She's elderly, can't go out and work and stuff, and she has no idea how to get up out of the system. And I was like, well, one of the things we're doing is we're getting some crowdfunding together to help people that can't get out of those situations. But one of the reasons we're doing this is to pave the way for a brighter future, so people don't have to get shuffled into 15-minute cities and shit like that.
They're using the system to their advantage to leverage against us. But we also have the ability and the tools now to use that same system while it's available to leverage in our favor. Like I was just explaining, and me and Randall talked about it. If you get, say, 100,000 people, all of those people can scrape $1 together, right? Even if it's 50, 100, whatever it is, you get a nice amount of people and you scrape that $1 together from each and you start going one by one. You just keep doing it because $1 comes easy. $1. Sarah McLaughlin got people in mass droves to fucking donate $1 with just one of her songs and some puppy dog eyes. You telling me you can't fucking muster that for freedom and liberty, and then you turn around and go one by one and set everybody up?
You guys probably don't remember this, but there used to be a Save the Ethiopian Starving Children thing. I mean, every third commercial was that shit, dude.
Hell yeah.
And it was 97 cents a month.
It was the fucking
the price
Titanic
of a cup
theme
of coffee
song.
every day, and they banked billions. They got
here's
so
the thing,
hemmed up
I
that
want
they
to
ended up
point.
pocketing all the money, of course.
There
But
are a lot of
that was
shills.
big, dude. They got billions, and it was people sending pocket change.
Right, but there are a lot of fake shills, garbage motherfuckers out there, right? So you don't centralize it. You find your group, and you do that. You work in that group. If, let's say, the target goal is to find 100 people or 1,000 people, whatever it is for whatever cause, and you go through each one of those individuals that donate each time. You run it. You do that cycle. So if you're in that group of people, that whole group of people is going to one by one, $1 at a fucking time, get everybody to that point where they're set up in as feasible as possible, whether that's getting them as self-sufficient as possible or whatever. Because in reality, this is what we're looking at, right? And the WEF has acknowledged it. We know it statistically to be true. Up to 90-something% of our population is living paycheck to paycheck under crippling amounts of fucking debt. But erase that debt for those people, and what happens? Let's do Fight Club without the bombs, bro. Let's buy everybody's fucking freedom one at a time by working the fuck together, and you can literally do it one at a time without anybody making shit off of it. We see it every fucking time when a disaster happens. What happens? The people come out and fucking do it, while the government's twiddling its thumbs and got its thumb up its ass, cutting through bureaucratic red tape to get aid to fucking people. It's the everyday real people that make it fucking happen. I'll give what I have, because I have enough. I can do this. Now we're going to take care of these people. And this is how you do it.
I'm not condoning this organization whatsoever, but interestingly enough, the LDS Church donates over 5 times the amount to humanitarian aid every year as the U.S. government.
And we don't even have to. This is the crazy thing. We could make a change without having to change a fucking thing about our lifestyle. One by one by one by one. You start at the ground level, and as people come in and participate, they're thrown right in next in line, and you just keep fucking going until you've literally, through just sheer fucking grassroots donation movement, you've bought everybody out and clear of debt, and now you start from scratch. And how many of them $15 a fucking jobs are now going to cut it for people? It will be a livable wage. And you know what? Their system don't have a chance to collapse, because even if they manage to have to fucking cut down wages, we've already cut down our expenditures to the point that we're fucking irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go on the strike, like, you know what? Fuck it. The Industrial Revolution can die with us. We got ourselves taken care of. You didn't give a fuck about us, so we'll take care of our own. You lost the right to govern us when you breached that contract known as the Constitution, so now we will govern ourselves, and we will take care of our fucking own, since you weren't able to fucking do it.
Yeah.
See, and that's a nicer version than what I even had planned or have been preaching to people. Not preaching, but stating, like, honestly.
Wait a minute, though. Be careful. I'm unhinged and controlled up and all that shit. So.
Oh man, cut that out. Cut that out, bro.
Right. But
oh, it's okay. No, I'm just a conspiracy theorist that's talking out my ass about my health history, so it's okay.
Oh, I know. I've posted the receipts for every fucking thing I've ever said. Come at me, bro.
Well. My plan, the idea I always had was as simple as this. We just take out every single elite who acts like they own us and the property, and then turn around and spread that wealth amongst the people equally. I mean, like the actual wealth, not the paper bullshit, but actual.
That's the thing. True wealth and prosperity isn't how much of anything you have. It's literally, if you can look in your community and nobody is without shit, your community is now prosperous. When somebody is on hard times, they don't have to lack for anything or worry about anything, because charity is no place of the fucking government. That charity comes from your heart. It comes from the people
9
around
scariest
you.
words in the human language, or in the English language. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help.
No, it's time to help people get free of their dependency on these governments and on these systems. See, this is the thing. We argue about welfare and all this shit, and I know with Oliver Anthony's song and shit like that and the blowback. See, the whole point of all these different systems that are subsidized, their purpose initially was to help people get to a point where they didn't need them, get them on their feet and running. Right, that was the whole point of it.
That's how they sold it, anyways.
So
I wasn't rolling my eyes at Oliver Anthony. Just so anybody that's watching this that saw me roll my eyes is not pissed and doesn't have a reason to go off on Rob. I was rolling my eyes at the fact that people are going off about that song because he's not going after anyone that's a common American.
They have to, and this is why I say that the whole thing was a psyop, because they put something out there and look at. The thing we did learn from it, regardless of anything else, is just how quickly we can all unite. Because you saw everyone from the commies to the leftists to every fucking walk of life, to even outside of America, that responded and resonated with that song. But of course, you have to have the opposite end of things, which was the blowback. Oh, they focused on the fudge rounds line. Listen, no, it's not the people that are on it, but rather the fact that it has become such a big part of people's dependence on the system, when it was supposed to allow people the ability that were on hard times to get on their feet and free of dependence on that system.
Yo, Jason,
so many people just rely on it now. It's like they expect it. It's like they can't live without it.
Well, let's give them the ability to do that, because a lot of
setting off a bomb?
The big majority of the thing that's preventing a lot of these people is literally the financial system. It is not financially feasible. If money wasn't an issue, there's a million things I would do with my time. Right? But we know that's all going to collapse, and the only other alternative is to go to the CBDC when they introduce it. So let's get to the point where we have the alternative option amongst ourselves. You build it, they will come. When people realize that they don't want to be part of the CBDC, even if they ended up in the CBDC, you have an out. You can now join these people that have absolved themselves of it. But if we don't build that as an option for people while we can, then that it's going to be exponentially harder to get free of that shit when it's implemented widespread.
Well, because of current circumstances, I'm already living pretty cashless.
Some of us haven't. Oh. We've all individually been endeavoring to get to that point more and more of self-sufficiency, but we're also running out of time, and people are at various stages. Let's do something to expedite. They're trying to speed up their agenda. Let's speed up ours, and let's use their systems to do it.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
We've been out of time. We've been out of time.
Exactly.
Did Randall get a chance to tell you about what we're doing?
No time like the present. Yeah, that's why Randall here, he reached out to me and started talking. I'm glad you made it in here, because he started with it.
Dude, it's blowing up. I'm pretty sure we'll have at least one location in every state, and
I've offered.
Most states are talking hundreds of showing up.
We'll have to talk a little bit more out. I've offered, as long as there's nothing happening across the street at the local public park, I've offered to host. I've got my property, which isn't huge, but I don't give a fuck. Campers, tents, whatever. We'll figure it out, because there's also a public park across the street.
It's only a weekend, so.
Right, you know that's what I'm saying. If there's nothing happening at the park that weekend, then hosting it would be pretty cool. Everybody BYO everything, come set up. If there's enough interest in it in Michigan, even if it's only a couple, we'll figure that out. I'll host. I will be a location in Michigan for it if we get interest.
Well, see, check this out. I mean, we were thinking that there'd only be 20 to 50 people / groups showing up anyways at 2 locations. You know, we weren't expecting this to be anything even remotely what it's become, man. And I just announced this stuff.
You'll be amazed at how many people are actually sick and tired.
Days ago.
Well, I just revamped
Everybody's
the
fucking
Discord.
sick and tired.
I just revamped the Discord. Anybody that's not in there, I can get you in there. I did something different than what I've seen anywhere else, which was everybody gets their own fucking channel with 3 chats. One for information, one to chat about that information so you don't clog up the information spot, and then one for that's audio visual for shit like this, right? But then I can set it up so that we have one in every state if everybody wants to funnel towards that, because that's information that people can use to get to that level. right? That's just one level of it. While we have it, let's use it. And then I wanted to build the Discord server around the people in it rather than the person who owns the server, right? Give everybody their voice and information, skills, that shit.
I think that's what happened to software, man. I used to do game dev back in the 80s and stuff, and I watched hardcore degradation in the quality of software, where they were either writing games for themselves or they were writing games to appease whoever paid the most, and it turned into an OP fuckfest. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
What happened, Darboy?
I don't know.
But yeah, it's like we have these various.
Lost beard number 3. Wait a minute, we lost beard number 3. What's going down, man?
It's free reign for people to come in and out as if I know that they want to be involved, I'll add them to the chat a little bit more, and whenever we do them, they just pop in, come in and out.
Do them? Hold up, bro. Hold up. No homo. Let me finish your statement. No homo.
Told you already. It's not gay if you're wearing your state-issued prison boots or your GI-issued combat boots. Cover me harder, Daddy.
Stay at your own end.
I roll barefoot, so.
Oh fuck!
I don't know. I'm getting old. I think I can just fly solo nowadays. Shit.
But that's really what it is. Like let's be real. Some of the greatest minds in the world were hermits. All of us. I mean, y'all can speak for yourselves, but me, I don't even fucking like people. If I was left alone to my own devices, I'd love nothing more.
Look at this. Okay, I'm on my front porch. I'm gonna show you something. I live in town.
Your wife's car's fucking lime green?
You better paint that blue. Them energy weapons are coming.
Yeah, I gotta get on that with my truck, actually. My roof I already took care of, but I gotta take care of my truck, because, well,
bro, did you see the advertisement for the military thing, for like how they were advertising the blue roof thing? And they were like, yeah, you can get the FEMA tarps or the UN blue tarps. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, they put like 12 UN blue tarps with little eyelets for tying it down. They went through like we don't know what a fucking tarp is.
There's a company called Hoplite Armor that makes a wonderful target that in the center of the target with a inch marker every inch out to 12 inches, it has a UN head with a helmet on it. It is perfectly painted like a UN helmet.
Everybody was joking a while back about how the new currency after the fall will be UN helmets, but bro, we didn't know how valuable they were going to be. We had no idea.
Flashback to Kuwait, man.
You offer me a UN helmet with 3 bullet holes? You offer me a UN helmet clean of any bullet holes, you can stay at my house as long as you fucking need to. Are you kidding
me? I'm about to make a fucking blue man fucking ghillie suit.
Do it.
I legit have no idea what y'all are talking about.
I wonder if that's why the UN painted them blue so they can't get nuked from space.
Start some more wood on that fire.
Oh, I'm just gonna hide in the fucking woods. They ain't never.
So what we're talking about has to do with the Hawaii fires, where nothing that was a certain shade of green, like certain foliage, and then nothing that was blue or slate color burned.
Right.
That's why there's this huge AI movement against slate and blue color roofs online. Like anybody that gets one and posts a picture of their house, they instantly get hit with like 20 negative comments about the color of their roof. Just because nobody wants, or none of the ruling class want people to have roofs that they can't set on fire from space.
Think about green screen technology. That's the easiest way to think about it. It's like, you know how
exactly
in green screen, it's like the camera will pick up all but one spectrum? Same with that damn
No, I get that.
DEW
I get the
weapon.
microwaves and what it's been doing to, and I get coloring. I just got, you lost me on the UN helmets is all.
Because they're blue.
Oh,
they're
we're
blue.
talking
It's
about
like whoever
something that
got the most is like Cat Daddy.
Down, it's the thing about down in
like cigarettes
Maui
in
in
prison.
Hawaii where nothing blue burns through all the blaze. So the UN helmets are blue.
Oh, okay, I see. So they'll protect you from.
I gotcha.
Protect you from
Maybe
aliens.
that's why.
Blue helmets,
Maybe
the new tinfoil cap.
Maybe that's why the UN chose blue for their helmet. They knew about the aliens because the CIA said, "Hey, guess what? We fucking discovered out in Arizona."
Listen,
Wait,
it's looking like
it's
Austin
aliens now that
Powers
are
and the moon laser thing is a reality, bro. They were giving us some fucking prophecy.
Hey, you mean besides me, discoveries in Arizona?
It's aliens doing this shit now?
Well, yeah.
According to the government, it is.
Yeah,
according to the government, it's aliens.
But according to the government, there was also a Project Bluebeam to do the same thing. So it's anybody's guess at this point. That's information
About 50
warfare. It
years
could
ago.
be aliens.
Okay,
It could not.
let me tell you guys about the military. They have all the coolest shit and the dumbest
Before it's in a movie.
You don't get promoted for being good at anything. You get promoted for passing tests and shit.
It's lowest common denominator, and that's what they've done to society because they
And
don't
that's
want unity. They want uniformity.
Exactly.
It's
and the
the
so you might have
smartest
somebody
person
should
that
be
will
a
obey every
podiatrist
order.
doing laser guided missile systems, and he don't give a shit about that. He got stuck doing that. He don't want to do that.
Well, think
And
about it.
that's
They've also set it up with the video games, bro, and this ability to do it from behind a screen now, and that removes the real world consequences in somebody's mind. It's a way to separate the conscience. They'll feel no guilt because they're separated from it. They don't have to be there and see it.
That's
They
one of the
literally
reasons why they promoted
Respawn in Call of
what
Duty.
we're doing right now is so people would just go to their phones and they got that level of separation, that digital level of separation that we have right now. We're not face to face like we used to be.
Right,
while
simultaneously telling us we're
energies. You know what I mean?
Right, while simultaneously telling us we've never been more connected.
Yeah, exactly.
We've never been more disconnected personally from one another.
If all 5 of us were on the same block, DC would already be fixed.
I don't need an army. I just need 3 bad motherfuckers.
I got a few of them sitting above me on my screen right now. Like, fucking come on.
I just need a distraction.
I can do that. I'm real good at distraction tactics. I mean, I'm very fucking good at distracting people.
Apparently the government and mass media is too, because they got people running in circles chasing after their own fucking tails.
Well, think about it. They've been doing it since Hollywood. Before that, really. Think about the bread and cakes edict that was given out in all of Rome during when Rome was falling. Bread and cakes. That's exactly what they're doing now. Keep everybody fat and entertained.
There are so many connections to this. We are seeing the culmination of events like the butterfly effect that have been transpiring since, at minimum, the 1600s with the fall of Portugal. Okay.
Earlier than that, and I can prove it. A lot of the Bible prophecies are coming true, quote unquote, at the end of days time. If you're a Christian, you'd be following this, you'd know this.
The same
These things are planned. They told us.
The same.
They told us what they were going to do before they did it.
Yeah,
they have to tell us what they're going to do in order to do it.
The same people doing it to us, bro.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
If you're the one that planned it out.
It wasn't a prophecy. It was a warning.
Right in there, I picked up a flashlight. I said, "Behold, there's light. Turn it on." I didn't prophesy that light. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Write the narrative. Control their outcome. Fucking.
Because we do.
Hold on. I just had a voice not part of this conversation say, "Please and thank you. Stop what you're talking about." And then the voice disappeared. That was fucking trippy,
bro. Gang stalking.
Discontinue what you're talking about, please and thank you. What the fuck? Hey, one of my neighbors that had a fucking red truck he just drove by and he has used a spray paint can to paint it blue. That's interesting.
Here is the response to that voice. We in one solid uniform answer from me. I don't give a fuck. It's liberty or death, bitch.
First Amendment, suck my left nut, you piece of communist trash.
Absolute freedom.
Or to do it in TikTok terms, if you want to stop.
Yo, all together.
You either have absolute freedom you either have absolute freedom or you have privilege. That's it. There's no such thing as rights, because the rights you have are temporary. It's a privilege. So instead, you either have absolute
even
freedom
by their own system,
or no freedom.
If any state converts a right to a privilege and it fixes a fee for it, the people have the right to practice that liberty with impunity.
So but our rights are inalienable.
It's not
our
really
rights are inalienable.
Did I hear a quote from the American Jurisprudence and Constitutional Acts?
You can't strip a right. A right is given by the Creator, not by man.
That's not what I said. I'm talking about the government labeling our rights.
Gotcha. Okay, I misunderstood. I apologize. I was wrong.
I'm saying the government's version of rights is really temporary privilege. That's why they can take them and give them at will.
Right.
That's why you have to have a license to go hunting or fishing.
Rights are absolute.
Exactly. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I misunderstood you under your initial phrasing. I misunderstood you, and I apologize for that. However, you are entirely correct. Our rights can't be taken from the government. The government's mislabeling them as privileges.
And then to those that run around saying, well, you don't have rights unless you exercise them, that's bullshit. They are inherent. You cannot buy, lose, sell, or anything. The only thing you can do is be coerced into not exercising them, and that is entirely your choice, because that's what freedom and liberty is.
There's two things you can do with the right.
That's why. Period. That's why I strongly feel we should remove.
Put it in your pocket. You can't paint it purple.
Not exercising them does not. Not exercising them does not preclude or deny their existence. They are still.
At any given time, you can decide to use them again.
And that's what people say. Oh, well, they can restrict your rights and this and that. And I'm like, no, you have to understand. Even the Second Amendment, right? Its wording is based upon that inherent right of self-defense. They just referenced a vague meaning of that to whatever the common form that's arms, which is vague enough to cover any arm that is the common means of capability to give yourself the ability to defend yourself. Okay?
If I'm not allowed to use an axe, I declare bullshit.
Whatever feasible means you deem is feasible to defend yourself, but with that comes the concept of knowing the discernment when to.
I will in a minute.
Like, you can't just shoot somebody for stepping on your property. You've escalated that beyond what is typically. You give that person that warning, and if they're belligerent, that warning shot, so to speak, right? You give them that chance, but if they're not.
I was going to say, if you got a posted warning, you can.
I mean, you can. But here's the thing. This is a matter. This is a matter of integrity, right? I wouldn't want somebody for the fact that let's say, hey, I decided to get rip-roaring drunk and decide to stumble into the neighbor's yard one night, and
yeah, see, now that would be wrong of somebody to shoot in that instance. I don't care what they got going on.
And but at the same time, they've clouded people's minds and ability to discern.
Some guy in a hoodie and his pants halfway down his ass,
Zimmerman.
And they're out by your garage and they're looking around to see who's watching them. I'm not even talking to that motherfucker, man.
But then again, what if that same person was coming over to you to ask you for help because someone down the road was dying or something, or they needed help? Like
they should have done
that whole
shoot.
That
But wait a minute.
That's your,
Wait a minute, because that requires, and this is the thing, this is interpersonal. It requires discernment on both parties in that point, because you're going to notice if somebody's running to you in a panic versus if someone is running to you aggressively, right?
Yeah, I'm sporty. I'll whistle and wait for him to look at me so I can hit him right between the eyes or some shit.
The point
if
is,
somebody's on my property,
kill anyone who comes on your property. But I can honestly tell you, as another free human being, if I had a neighbor who is like, "Hey, I killed this guy yesterday. Why? Because he stood on my property." Then I would make sure to reinform the neighborhood. Hey, I killed my neighbor because he murdered some guy for just stepping on his property.
Now the neighborhood's coming to knock on your door.
They're gonna have questions. If you kill somebody,
that's how fucking dirty shit starts. Yeah. No,
if you kill somebody dirty, that's my point. You have something to answer to.
Legal term, totality of the circumstances, man. You can't really predict anything because you're not there. You don't know all the variables. You know what I mean? Anything could happen.
Right. The whole point is,
like Rob was saying, if someone's showing a threat, that's different. But if someone just steps on your property, that doesn't give you the right to shoot them.
Right. But here's where the discernment comes in.
I say nothing about shooting anybody. I say nothing about shooting anyone.
From axioms of law. Is exhaust all available means of remedy before you take it to the legal system in the first place, right? And the same thing applies to that defense. Exhaust available means that are feasible, and that is also dependent upon the situation, right? If someone's being aggressive, you
adequately applied a reasonable man standard to all situations where there's a question, and it comes down to, like I said, the totality of the circumstances.
Yes. And these are the things that we need to be teaching people so that they're not going off half-cocked, so that they're not stepping out of and fraudulently claiming, "Oh, I was defending themselves," in like shit like the Zimmerman case or this fucking where the cops handled Floyd, or any of these situations that you can hold up to, right? Where those things aren't happening, because now people have truly been taught the difference and the discernment, and saying, "Hey, wait a minute. There's certain means and methods and standards of handling any given situation, and when you're showing people that these are the ways to do it and go about it without while respecting the rights of others," right?
So, look, I have something that's a hell of a lot better than no trespassing, shoot on sight, etc. I'm going to show it again because I don't know if all of you caught this. I do need to put my phone number on here just because a private property no trespassing sign is not valid without a way to contact you. Should the law enforcement, etc., need to contact you and they can't, they can violate it if you don't have a number on there. So, I'm going to flip my camera real quick. Private property, no trespassing. Violators will be violated. I have very shitty print handwriting. Just so you know. I have shit print handwriting. My print handwriting is shit because I write exclusively in cursive.
Here's the thing, and this is, and you make a valid point about that. If it is posted, then that should validly be respected as far as rights go. Hey, someone has taken the time and effort to warn it, but now again, let's just
if you've ever talked to me and asked to come over here, though, if you've ever talked to me and you've asked to come on my property, I have no right to be doing anything nasty to you whatsoever. In fact, I'm not going to. If you've asked to come to my property, you have full permission to come to my property, knock on my door, talk to me, have a meal together even. If I've invited you out here, I intend to be a courteous host.
And that's the thing. Listen, a lot of people
I'll let you use the bathroom if you come over.
A lot of people will be like, "Oh, respect is earned." Now, see, this is the thing that a lot of people need to understand. There's common decency and common respect that all are entitled to, but anything beyond that common courtesy and common respect is predicated upon earning. Like that's what's needed to be earned. But a common decency, a common respect that is afforded to all should be a baseline.
See, I have a neighbor I don't like that stumbled onto my property at one point in time drunk. He was very drunk. My property's posted, and I live in a state that has a castle citadel doctrine. But he was drunk, and he had no idea where the fuck he was. Under those circumstances, it's my obligation as the property owner to ensure that that dumbass wanders his way half a block up this, about half a mile up the street back to his house.
But here's the thing: even if you don't like the guy,
in New Jersey.
Here's the thing, and this isn't even this isn't anything other than like a morality or just common human decency argument. Even if you don't like the guy and you notice that he's stumbling around drunk, don't you, again, to not infringe, are you not somehow liable, knowing at this point, man? Nobody, you may not have taken the Hippocratic Oath, but as a common decency, as a human being, wouldn't it behoove you to help that man get back to where he needs to go, because you don't want to see anything happening to him?
Hold on, Jason. It comes down to what me and Rob discussed earlier, that America was meant to be lived and governed by those that uphold a standard of honor, a standard of morality that has been lost amongst most of Americans.
And that's
very unfortunate.
This is the thing. The morality was based on simple principles. Simple principles.
What's right versus wrong?
We fall into idols, which is people.
You can't defend against nothing.
You're right.
You cannot defend against nothing. That means that they pose no threat.
Security is an illusion.
That's
Security
a good way of putting it, because I
illusion.
remember you and I went back and forth kind of on that topic, and I think that's where we started misunderstanding one another for a while there. And me and Randall talked about it, and I was like, yeah, it's like, bro, everything he was saying, it was like, yo, we were right on the same page, and then somewhere in there, something got crossed, and I don't know what, but it was
a smart ass.
You said exactly that. Both of you said that to me. Both of you motherfuckers have said exactly that to me. Somewhere in the middle, we got crossed there, and I don't know what the fuck happened.
I'm saying, like, I may have misinterpreted something, but somewhere.
2 alpha males butt heads is all it was.
Yeah, but we say the same shit, and I like the way that you put that. Because I remember like I said, we had deep conversations on there that were a little deeper than I get to have with a lot of people. They were on the level of all of these people that I talk to, where we have those level of conversations, and that's few and far between on TikTok.
Right.
I love you, Jason. I hope you don't hate me for saying what I just said.
What'd you say?
I said my best friend is Big Green Mean for a reason.
Oh. You're just,
if you know, you know.
Let me tell you. See, he's pissed off because of what he has to go through in the next few years to accomplish, let's just say goals. And he's trying to drag me into it with him. He's trying to drag me backwards into some shit.
No, but listen. I know. I'm undiagnosed. I'm undiagnosed autistic, as well as a slew of other things. But fuck doctors and fuck the system, and they lie anyways. So you can't trust shit.
Doctors killed me 4 times. Fuck you, trust doctors.
But here's the thing: I am stubborn on certain things, especially phrases and words, because I recognize how, in psychological terms, the way that they've twisted words to have associations with feelings rather than what the word itself genuinely means. And they've changed definitions and all of that shit. So I try to be very particular, and I notice Randall does the same thing, and Darboy and Oath Reaper. Lucky, he's kind of like me too. I'm just gonna spit it the fuck out, and you can deal with it or not. I go through phases.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sorry.
But I do speak more for the simple people because, like, even I can speak in dumb terms. but understand what y'all are saying.
And I forget that sometimes, that it does require people speaking it at all different levels of perspective and comprehension, because you need to be able to convey these things in a way that others will understand it. So if it's not getting through to somebody when you're talking to them on the level that you're speaking to, find somebody that speaks on a level that they do, that you know this, that does this, and get them in touch with one another. Say, hey, maybe this guy will have a better way of explaining it to you than I will, if you're willing to hear it. You get those people to the message in a way and get it delivered to them in a way that they're going to understand it, and you're going to get the response. You're going to get the support. You're going to get that shit. And that's why I wanted to bring different people into this shit, different perspectives, but all different perspectives,
all different backgrounds.
Yeah.
A finger breaks. Exactly. Fingers get broken when they're individual and they're on their own. Fingers get broken.
I've been saying from day one,
we need to be a fist.
We are not.
If we bring all our beards together, we can do anything.
I've been saying it since day one. We are not nearly, as a people and as a whole, we are not nearly as divided as these screens would make it appear. And the Oliver Anthony, regardless of anything else involving that song, that proved that fucking point. That was fucking proof. The response to that song was fucking proof. We can.
Which one's Oliver Anthony?
Minus a little bit of the racism, because some people were saying, "Oh, he's racist because he's talking about welfare." Look, the people that are saying that, at this point, they are willfully ignorant, and I will state bluntly and for the record, willful ignorance at this point is malicious. There are too many people that are trying to help and trying to educate.
Because everybody who talks about racism, I'll just flat out say it. One, if you're gonna be that person who hates a certain race, fucking there's absolute freedom. Again, you have the right to do that, as long as you ain't infringing your shit onto other people or harming other people. Now, can I guarantee that your fucking little group or community that you made is going to function? Hell no, because where are you going to get your anything else from if you don't deal with colored people? So you know what? That's on you. Whether you live, survive, or whatever, that is not my business. But you have that right. Period.
I can sum that up easily by just saying we have absolute
racism
rights
is willful ignorance,
up to, but not past the boundaries of other people's rights. Period.
Right.
Period.
I like how Thomas. I say it all the time.
Racism is taught. You don't learn racism. Racism is something that's taught. You may learn that from your parents, but it's taught. That is not something that you pick up from here and you automatically are racist. That's something that you've learned for years.
Well, now it's taught in school. You don't need parents to be racist anymore. It's just taught in school.
Anymore, yes, I would agree. Racism is taught in school, but I will state that racism in general is generally, in most part, every person I've ever encountered that was actually a racist, and I had a logical conversation with them, I was able to sway them if they were willing to be logical, because typically racism is one's own display of their own ignorance. They don't understand that every race is equal. We are all equal. We all have the same ability to produce, provide, and to be functional members of humanity that can contribute. It doesn't matter what color or pigmentation of our skin is. It matters about our character.
Genetics in and of themselves disprove the concept of superiority of white supremacy. Genetics alone disprove that shit, because you have dominant and recessive genes, and the fact that you can't escape from, you just can't fucking escape from, so it's natural, it's nature, is that the dominant genes tend to be towards those with more melanin in their biology.
They're better for survival because of the resistance to the sun.
99% of all racists are nothing but lemmings that follow one charismatic, psychotic piece of shit.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Listen, these people are genuinely mentally unstable, unbalanced, and irrational.
What I'm saying
they're
is they're not really racist. They don't really hate nothing.
I disagree.
Everyone stop! No, who disagreed? Let's let them talk. Whoever disagreed, we need to let them speak for a minute, because part of what we're trying to do with this constitutional camping trip is also important for the entire nation, is have civil discourse. Whoever disagreed, we need to give them
I know where he's going. Let him go, yeah.
And this is where I disagree, because there are several cultures in the world, if we're speaking for the world, that are in a form, it is racist. I don't care how you call it, it is. Look at the Indians, and I'm not talking the Native American Indians, I'm talking about India. They want their children, they want their children having children with their own kind. That's cultural racism.
But here's
it's still racism. It doesn't mean you can't sleep with other races, play around, but when you settle down and have children, they want you to be of their culture.
Here's
now
the
that
thing.
It's cultural racism
of the same sect. I've studied this as a history major. I can comment on this better than most people so far as India goes. India has a distribution of classes that is absolutely set.
Yeah, Randall, Randall, that's not necessary. Let me go ahead and say this back here real quick. Okay, basically you're not actually contradicting what I'm saying. Okay, what I'm saying is racism for a lot of people isn't a choice. All of those people that are raising their kids like that, right? What I'm saying is that's not happening naturally. That's something like dude up here on the dude with the long black beard and the camo cap. That's what he was going at. Is it's a taught thing for most people, except for that one charismatic psychotic person. That's the one that instills it in them, and then it runs wild because these people, just like Democratic voters, they'll go with anything.
Here's another perspective that you need to understand. If we are talking about freedom and liberty, then people that have that ideology and that belief system, by rights, have the ability to have that and be able to express that. And I will stand on that and support that. But allow them, and this is the thing, we can't allow people to be silenced because of their beliefs, because again, if we allow somebody to stomp on one, they'll stomp on all of us. I'd much rather them identify it anyways, and you know what, there's going to be people that do agree with them, and that's okay. And they can pull together and do their thing. There's nothing wrong with them living their thing until they infringe on somebody else, and then there's a fucking problem.
The wife that keeps going back to
and
the
I also
abusive
try to
husband,
do away with all these labels,
because
because every time we drop a label is where you lose somebody. So every time you've dropped a label versus Democrats and liberals and Republicans, that's a label, and you've lost that person every time.
Right, and that's another thing. We want people to come to the table, so we do have to. I know we want to use examples, but we got to drop all the bullshit and labels, because it's united we stand, divided we fall, and that means all. We the people is all the people, and I don't give a fuck what you believe. We're beyond all that bullshit now.
Exactly.
But but here's the thing. He's explaining something that I explain a lot. We have suffered for generations of indoctrination and propaganda on top of it to reinforce it. So we have to be understanding that there are a lot of people that are genuinely blind, and that's what I was saying earlier, path of least resistance. So they're going to go with what they know, and we have to be able to put aside all the other bullshit with it. Because ultimately, we're fighting for the ability to live our lives how we see fit. See, they have this novus ordo seclorum. They want to create chaos and then force order out of that chaos. Whereas if you allow chaos to happen, what you will notice is that over time, a natural order forms, because it's just one of the natural laws of the universe. What we need to do is buy the time to allow that natural order to take place, where people find their communities, build their shit, and then we can coalesce and work with one another to allow one another to live from their perspectives and grow as individuals, because we are constantly distracted from what the whole purpose of life is, and that is to grow as individuals. If you are not growing and flourishing and prospering, you are withering and dying. There are no two ways.
Life is gross. If you cease to grow, you cease to live, even if your body remains animated.
And everybody is at different levels.
What both of you said. I'm gonna go off of what both of you said, but flat out, we have to just say, look, you want to do you. It's not hurting anybody else. You think the white people are the best, and you only want to engage with white people. Okay, cool. You do you, boo boo. But that was your choice. It's not your fault.
White though?
But
circling back, but it's society, and I'm speaking for, and I'm honestly going to speak for the white fucking 5 guys here, because why do we keep putting it in that?
Because it doesn't matter. Listen, everything we're saying, it does. This is the one place where this is the one place where everything we're saying, it doesn't apply to just one, it applies to all, because all men and women are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights, and that is where we stand on that shit, period. And if people can't stand on that, then they're not our fucking people.
I'm just trying to cover all the bases because I know this is going to be viewed by multiple people. I'm trying to cover all the bases. I understand this will be viewed by a lot of people. There are some people that are potentially racist that will likely be viewing this. Me, myself, I don't give a flying fuck. There's people that are garbage of every race. The fact I care about is your character, goddammit. And just so anybody that's looked at this shirt and questioned it is aware, this is about firefighters. This is not about the police. Police kill 1/3 of all people that die due to homicide in America every year.
We're getting feedback. Somebody.
It might be me. I don't have a headset. Hold on. I'll mute my mic while well, no, I'm hearing feedback too. So, but I'll mute my mic when I'm not talking. See if that helps.
But what I'm getting
what I was trying to say, I get what you're getting at. Give me a second though. So what I was trying to say though is instead of saying white racist, why can't we just say racist?
Racist?
That generalizes all racism. Because what I'm trying to point out,
by labeling
before you talk over me again, what I'm trying to point out is right now already it looks bad. Right now in today's society, they're already saying that only white people can be racist. It's the whites' faults, and I'm trying to break away from that. Because guess what, bro? I grew up in fucking downtown LA. I was the only fucking white kid around Mexicans and black dudes. I was just as ghetto.
Holy
still fucking, I'm more ghetto than I'm
with it in this chat alone. The point is, racism, we don't agree with it, but it don't matter because everybody has the right to their own opinions and perspectives, and we will support their ability to have and express those rights and those opinions.
As long as you ain't hurting nobody. Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? Real quick. Let me split this out. It'll be short. The thing about it is people have the absolute right to be as racist as they want to be. What they don't have the right to do is infringe on others' rights for any reason, whether it's racism or not. If they do, they're to be held accountable, regardless if it was for racism or not. Basically, what it comes down to, what is right or wrong, comes down to if it hurts somebody unjustly or not.
It's It's about.
It doesn't matter what the reason is. If it's skin color, if it's because you're too short, or if it's because you live on the wrong side of town, it don't fucking matter. It don't matter what the reason is. If you're doing something wrong, let's not glorify the bad act by even discussing it. It was something wrong, they get punished. Period.
Fuck yeah. But
because as soon as you start,
I like that
right now, just by only race as a topic of discussion. I mean,
if we want to change, see these changes,
racism. It doesn't exist.
If we want to see these changes in society, then one of the things we
have. Am I allowed to rephrase?
That we have learned is that we have to be that change, and we have to actually boost the things that reinforce that as well. See, we're in a constant cycle of seeing nothing but the negatives and everything all the time. That's part of the psychological bombardment against us that you're seeing a lot of people succumb to. You're seeing people that are being affected by it in droves. Okay, and one of those things is we have to be able to remove all of that from every part of the equation, because it's at this point it is literally about the future liberty for future generations, what we're leaving to our generations, no matter who we are or where we come from. Okay, that's and rightful liberty. I like how Thomas Jefferson put it. Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within limits drawn around us by the equal rights of, which is summed up in a lot of different ways as like harm none, do what you will, right? Don't tread on. It's said in a lot of different ways, but damn, just show one another respect, and it's real fucking simple. You don't have to like one another. It's that common decency and common respect that is everyone should be entitled and afforded. That's it.
And it should be based on what you look like, what you believe.
I'll be back, gentlemen. It's story time in my house.
Okay, enjoy, bro.
Go take care of your kids, my brother. Go take care of your kids.
Tell them we said good night.
I definitely will. You guys have a good one.
You do, brother.
You too.
Peace.
Look, that's genuinely what it comes down to. We can figure out all the other cultural bullshit and all of that shit, but in reality, it don't matter in the grander scheme of things. If we don't start working together, if we don't start cooperating, if we don't start getting everybody free from the dependence on the system, and I mean fucking everybody, giving them that option, if we don't start implementing these things, the system will swallow all of us, and it won't matter who you are.
The fundamentals of what you just said is pretty much what I was trying to get at earlier when I said that basically it doesn't really matter why people do bad things. If we focus on racism, that's just spinning our wheels. Your bird.
Dude, you're the guy with the feedback.
Yeah, but I'm trying to talk. You got some loud birds. There we go.
How about?
Yeah, basically, I'm just of the opinion it's like I don't think it really matters why people do bad things. If they do bad things, hold them accountable. Period.
That's
you know what I mean. It's like
exactly.
the more we talk about racism, the more we support racism. If we just quit talking about it, like let's abolish racism. Let's quit talking about it. Act like it doesn't exist. Don't acknowledge it. Don't give it any credit.
Don't feed it. Don't feed it.
Yeah.
Don't feed it. Right, but. But your neighbors should be allowed to come to you, move into your neighborhood, and go, hey man, how you doing? I'm good. You know, you do the meet and greet, and him let you know, oh yeah, I'm a racist. I don't like this and that. You should be able to be like, oh, I don't believe that, but that's cool, and that should be cool between the two of you.
Right.
Nowadays,
that's what I mean by the
stuck being.
That's what I mean by the common decency and common respect, right? You can have your opinions and your beliefs, and if we don't really agree, we don't have to associate with one another. That's the whole concept of this shit, right? You should be free to live your life, and we don't have to. But here's the thing. If someone's trying to stop you from living you and doing you or infringe on you, you can count. That's the thing. We need to count on one another to come to one another's defense regardless of all of that shit.
Yeah, see,
that's right.
Ronald Reagan's mental. And,
October 27th to 29th.
Barry Goldwater back in the.
And whether I like you or not, I very much like to count on you.
Yeah, Barry Goldwater.
Just as you would count on me.
Right.
Is he?
Yeah, Barry Goldwater back in the 60s during the civil rights movement. Follow me here. I'm not making an argument against the civil rights movement or the end of Jim Crow or all that stuff, but Barry Goldwater during that time was advocating against the end of Jim Crow law, or like he didn't want to put a stop to the end of the Jim Crow laws, but it wasn't for the same reason that the Democrats at the time were trying to do. His argument to it is that it would end freedom of association. And he said that if we ended up doing that, ended up having a cascading effect that in the future would be detrimental to our rights.
Right.
And we're seeing that now because you end up getting things out there like bakeries that cakes for gay couples because religiously they don't believe it. Violates their First Amendment rights. But then all of a sudden they're taken to court, put out of business because they have no freedom of association.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. It's about getting the whole point of all of getting out from under those systems and giving people an opportunity to and a path, not just a path, but an opportunity and an option. Right? You have to make it a path of least resistance behaviorally because we already know what the indoctrination's done. We can't change that. People have to be able to change that and come to that on their own time, and we got to buy people those time because realistically, nobody's going to change their mind until they're forced into facing reality, and we all know them until a life-altering event happens. And what you're going to have is a massive population that has experienced cognitive dissonance right at the same time as shit hitting the fan. And we've all experienced the cognitive dissonance at some point and know what it was like when we had to go through it. And we went through it alone, probably predominantly, right? So we need to be that light, because those people, like you're seeing on social media now, they're realizing that everything they know is a fucking lie. And now that means they need something. They need a life raft to grab onto. And that usually comes with whoever they find first that makes the most sense, and they will cling to it. And that's how you end up with fucking cults. That is how you end up with people being blindly led to the fucking slaughter. And that's what we're here to do, is set that groundwork for when that happens, so that there's a safety net for people and they're not forced and corralled right down the fucking chute to slaughter.
For anybody that follows any of us, I would encourage you to independently verify the information that we convey to you. All of us would encourage you to do so.
Absolutely.
Don't ever take anything I say
Make your
as
own
proof.
opinion.
I think I'm always right.
Collect information.
I think that's why I'm always hated.
Form your own opinion.
Yep. Yeah, like as far as the discussion you guys were having, you guys were just having, like, one thing I always tried. I don't even get into the whole racist discussion anymore.
I don't care who you are or where you come from. I care about whether or not you are able to live in liberty and freedom, because if we are not all free, then no one is. We are not free until everyone is fucking free, man.
Yeah, 'cause I remember a time back in the 90s and the early 2000s, like, we didn't talk about it. It was a thing that, like,
it was a decade of collaboration, and there was a lot of beautiful shit that came from it, man. And then they panicked us with the fucking with Y2K, and then the cycle just never ended from there.
When I was a kid, none of it fucking mattered. It mattered how hard you worked. It mattered what you did. It mattered if you were a good person or not. You're black? Cool. Your name's DJ? Cool. I don't give a fuck. You're a cool dude?
Going back to the welfare
You're either
system, bro. Listen,
you're either a homie or a punk ass.
Coming
I grew
from
up
someone
in Fairborn, Ohio, home of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and we had like 5,000 kids in our high school of people from all over the fucking world.
Listen, no, coming back to the whole welfare conversation, here's the thing. Coming from someone who lived and grew up in a system of welfare, those of us on welfare don't give a fuck about any of that, because we know what it's like to be broke, and being poor, having to rely on that shit for your very fucking survival, and what it does to your psyche. That shit don't know any class or color, man. Like, in those places, it don't fucking matter.
Remember actual food stamps, my brother?
Uh-huh.
The ones that were printed on, like, coupon cards instead of, like, a... Like, yeah, the ones that were on coupon cards.
I grew up around people that were both completely and wholeheartedly relying upon it, people that fell on hard times and used it, people that were because of single mothers that had that shit, and people that, like, I've seen the shit with the steaks and people buying steaks and people getting ridiculed for that. You know what? There's people.
My mom's a natural born state baby, dude.
Hold on. There's people that saved money and made cuts and sacrifices elsewhere with that same fucking card, so that they can provide that one good fucking meal for the family for that week, or for themselves for that week, right? Because most of the people that are on that shit are relying on Hamburger Helper or fucking whatever the cheapest goddamn thing on the shelf is, so that they can keep feeding them goddamn selves, right? This shit don't know anything other than that, because what they're doing is the entire financial system is a fucking pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme to literally suck everything up, and it's all monopoly money anyways. They got us chasing fucking monopoly money, killing, and that's what the song was really talking about. That's what we've been trapped into this system, and we've been taught it's for our convenience, but it's literally.
We got Richmond, north of Richmond, that care more about miners on an island than they do about miners in a mine.
But we still ain't got a fucking list.
What are we talking about?
We still
Richmond,
ain't got a
north
list.
of Richmond by John Oliver.
The red-haired dude. Okay. Yeah,
Oliver
I don't
Anthony.
even know what his name is.
Oliver Anthony, my bad. I'm fucking horrible with names.
Well,
I just butchered that.
That way he can find it.
Yeah.
But
I've
it
seen
literally.
I know what it is. I don't remember names real well.
There's a good way I always explain it. A really good way that I always explain it. The biggest scam ever pulled in history is a bank printing out fake money out of thin air and then loaning it to you, and you having to pay them back with real money.
In interest. With more.
And interest.
Yeah.
How many real dollars are there? Anybody know the answer to that question? Real U.S. dollars?
It won't matter.
There's about 3 trillion real U.S. dollars.
It won't matter. They're already worthless, and that's what people don't realize. They've been worthless.
There's
forever.
over 30 trillion inside of banks. There's only 3 trillion actually printed.
But it don't matter. It's already valueless. It has no intrinsic value. Genuinely.
So think about
this is trillions, not billions, which is a number that's almost impossible for me to even visualize.
Think about this.
But they did that on purpose. They took gold and silver from everybody and bought it at such a cheap price, and then turned around and gave them fake money, and it's like, here you go.
Yep.
Why do you think all them cash for gold spots pop up in the poorest areas, bro?
My question is, where did the 100 million pounds of U.S. silver that was traded for Chinese gold go? Where did all that go? Because it all landed in California, and from there's no historical record as to where it actually got shipped to.
Listen, I just want to point out, with any of these types
Totally
of topics, you could talk for days and weeks and years and do research, and all you're ever going to find are theories. We may never get the reality of that until we finally free ourselves of this shit. And while they're all fucking important, and keep digging, keep trying to find those, have those conversations, keep in mind our primary priority has to be on getting ourselves prepared for what's coming.
Hence the camping trip on October 27th to 29th. We were trying to get everybody together just to simply communicate and get supply lines established. So when everything hits the fan, because we know it's going to, it's only a matter of time at this point, we can survive and possibly thrive. The ideal would be to thrive, not just to survive. But like at this point, getting through it is the biggest concern.
We're going to get the like minds together, the ones that are ready to, instead of just talking in circles about the problems, that are ready to start implementing things of their own volition, having ideas, having these discussions, getting together, even if it is just online here. You mentioned the camp out, and that's great too, but why stop at one fucking time? Let's get something together that's consistent, that's regular, like this podcast.
This is just the introductory, so this is just a meet and greet.
Right.
From here. But check this out.
To see interest.
Wait. Let me get this out real quick. Okay. See, this is a meet and greet. Everybody gets to meet people, and the main thing is to individuals or groups of people get together and establish secure means of communication, so that any kind of organization or planning or private information or anything like that going forward, we actually have a channel to
dissemination of information
without censorship or without prying eyes.
Yes, dissemination of information should be a priority. Jason knows communication.
We'll be setting another day at the end. We'll be setting another day to the end of this one. We don't know what that date will be yet. We're first time. We don't know what's happening. So,
well, no, I mean, while we take advantage of these systems that are existence, like I was talking about. There's another guy that wants to do a pretty regular, like Tuesday, Constitution study for Clapper, right? And I'm gonna help get that set up so that we can, anybody that's on Clapper that we know, or anybody that has an account on Clapper that wants to get involved in that too, so that's something where we're going and reading it, studying it, getting the perspectives and understandings and different things that people know, so that we can all start going into that and learning that. For anybody,
see, we plan on if there's anybody that shows up as entertainment, like bands or musicians or even comedians or anything that wants to perform, we're welcoming that. But we're looking for speakers, people that'll get up and make a presentation, And in context, of course, I don't want him talking about flowers or something like that. But you know what I mean? People that know what they're talking about, people like you and I. But I plan on. I'm hoping people will live stream that. You know what I mean?
Right.
To get the word out, because this first meeting is not going to be secret shit. This is all bring the family, completely public. The only thing that's going to be rough about it is it's just straight camping. We ain't putting any money into it. You don't have to pay for it.
Come,
you know what I mean?
We don't have the money, and most true patriots don't.
Right.
We don't have the money, and right now most true patriots are on kind of hard times because they've set it up that way.
Yeah. So even like I said, even we want to open it to anybody that can get to it, or as well by any other feasible means that want to be involved or get involved. So like the streaming of it, or setting up Skype or whatever other means of communication, because like I said, while we have it, we'll take advantage of it. But getting these conversations started and letting people branch off and reach out to their own little circles, because this is another thing that keeps us all divided, are these different little cliques where we don't communicate with one another. I'm not saying cliques are bad. Like I said, we have our circles.
We've all been shadow banned and put in our own little fucking corner. Each one of us has a few patriots in that corner that have all been put in that same corner, but I don't know how many fucking corners they've got, because they keep putting different people in all these different corners, and it's only a few people in each corner, and they never interact or never get to see anybody else.
Right. So we get
those. But the ones who are doing that, they're all one group. We've learned, you and I have learned that.
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah. And that's the thing. But we have to go everywhere that we have the potential to spread the message. And there's all these different apps, and different people have spread to them, and there's good people all over them. So take advantage of it. Right. So I'm going to help the guy set up that weekly constitutional study for people that he's got in his little circle, and we can go from there. And like I said, it's any level of involvement that somebody wants to be in, whether it's tuning in, whether it's making content, spreading it around, whether it's or getting in participation, or however we go about it. If you can't physically make it, we want people to be able to actually see it and participate anyways.
Well, I know, Rob, like, I'm wanting to get into the ham radio stuff. I don't know a whole lot about it. Now, what I do know about is communication, the importance of it. And I'm going to put some stuff on my, on the Discord and everything, and link it in there. And like, what I'd like to see is everybody at least get into it to a functionability, like, standpoint, and have that as like a back communication channel.
Right.
There it is.
Even if just to receive, because there are certain individuals that could not get a license to broadcast through that. Ham radios are heavily regulated by the FCC. Because of that, one of the key points of this constitutional camping trip is going to be how to set up an AM receiver and an AM transponder so that we can get different transistor points, quote unquote, that or relay stations is a better way to put that, so that we can get those messages disseminated amongst everyone.
And that's the information dissemination on. That's kind of what the whole purpose of my Discord server is. And I want to bring more and more people in so that they have access to the information, right? Because I keep telling people that the truth has been scattered amongst all these little divisions, right? Information is scattered all over, perspectives are all over, and people are digging at different levels and finding different shit. But if we're not sitting and able to compare the notes on these things, right? Give people the chance to pursue what it is they're interested in and passionate in, and compare those notes in a single location and watch how much progress. And that's kind of it's I'm trying to say is there's all these ideas that people might think, hey, I like this one, and I'll do this. If it's the Discord, if it's the Clapper, if it's the hosting it live, going and actually having those camping trips, helping with either getting the supplies or getting the fucking the information out to other areas that aren't getting it to the eyes outside of our own.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That way they can at least get the information and get what it's not for, the whole just let's bust it up. It's, hey, here's some information that could benefit you in what we're going to be dealing with in the near fucking future. So if this can benefit you, take use of it and disseminate it in some form or fashion, whether that's one of the guys that I met on Instagram. He saw my videos and grabbed a whole bunch of field manuals for different various things, and that's where the spawning of the idea for the Discord came. Is, hey, let's give each person that comes into the Discord their own separate channels for them to flow the information that is most pertinent to them, the things that they're focusing on and thinking about, so that you have all those different perspectives from the preppers, from the farmers, from the people that have the experience and the knowledge, to the people that don't really have it but are trying to get to that point, so that we can speed up the process of getting people in a position to not be dependent on this shit, so that when it does disappear, when it does go down, it doesn't give the chaos that they need to implement what they want to do, because that's ultimately what they need. Whether it's the financial crash or some other, say, mega cataclysmic thing, what they need is a countrywide chaos, absolute chaos, to justify putting that final boot down and taking that total control, whether that be financial or otherwise. And that's what they're building towards. That's what they want. That's why they need everybody in these emotional states and constantly going through the psychological warfare cycle. You can see it play out as people that normally are rational and thinking, and you're having those conversations, and it's to do a million different things, and every single one of those things have validity. But the reality is, it's keeping people a rational, logical thought process.
Gotcha.
So we have to be able to when we have the conversations, to derail those things when they're not going anywhere. All right, hey, let's get back to what's important here, and that's getting where we need to be before we don't have any more time left.
Definitely, man.
We don't have any more time left. That's why we're trying to get this meeting done as soon as humanly possible. Unfortunately, if we don't give people at least 2 months notice, because of the financial situation most people are in, like you and me discussed, you don't even have the ability really right now to stop your job for a few days and just go.
No.
So right now we have to give people to really be able to organize their shit to be able to get there.
And what I can do is,
the only reason I'm able to do this right now is because last September we bought 20 acres. Mine's camping. The last 2 miles of it's hike in or 4x.
Do you know the bearded guy on TikTok that does like tool or hack reviews and stuff like that? He lives out in like Wyoming or some a shit ton of people.
I don't know.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't know him.
He's got a shit ton of acreage.
And he Chained Unchained.
He has a shit ton of acreage, and he was offering people to come out and camp there. Maybe he'd help sponsor a spot there, and
that would be awesome.
If all of us start commenting in his comment section about this, he would get wind of it. He'd have to, because if he has multiple people commenting about the same thing, you'll notice that if he's a really big time creator.
Don't forget the hashtag.
I've had 1 million followers before. When you have that many followers, you don't notice all the shit coming into your inbox. You really fucking don't have the ability to manage it all.
Hey, Randall, tell them about the hashtag.
The hashtag is constitutional camping. Why is it constitutional camping? Because we're recognizing our constitutional right to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of travel. Those freedoms are constitutionally protected, and that is why our hashtag is constitutional camping. We're just exercise our constitutional rights to get together and protect ourselves, to organize and sort of, quote-unquote, circle the wagons. We're not trying to do anything violent. We're just trying to communicate with each other and protect each other. We're trying to do.
Yeah, I'll start using that hashtag.
Learn and grow.
I'll make sure I link that hashtag in all my content. Everything.
Thank you.
That's and there's a million and different ways liking, sharing, reposting, whether it's putting in your story if you're on IG, or tagging people in videos that you see talking about it that come to mind. That, like I said, there's a million and different one ways to get involved. I won't be able to travel.
Anyone you think of, talk to them about this. Anyone you can think of that might be interested, because really, there's some people you think, oh, they don't have the backbone to stand up. You understand how serious everybody is. It doesn't matter if they're gay, straight, white, black, or purple.
Go for broke. Let's aim for one in each county in each state and settle for whatever the hell we can get.
Yeah, link. If you guys got a site, link in the Discord, and then
we don't have shit for funding right now. I have a decent job, but because of a couple of different bullshit things that happened, I'm still catching up financially. Jason's unemployed right now, and then I know Rob's got his own financial hardship. So really, we're not asking for donations for anybody, but the reality is, if anybody wants to help support this or promote this, and they want to pick up our page and be like, hey, promote this, go for it. Do it.
For removing pedos.
Well, that's why I'm saying there's no need for the financial aspect. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, let's get it from where it's at. And those conversations, let's get those aired everywhere else, every place that we out there, so that people can see these conversations, because these are the conversations that need to be had. These are the ones that we need to talk about.
Hey, how do we protect each other? How do we feed each other? How do we make sure each other's children don't go to bed hungry? How do we make?
And and get the people involved in those conversations?
We need to get involved so we can get more exposure.
The more promoters we can get involved, the better. But the reality is, that's just going to be sort of by basis.
I want to do this without any of the systems, any systems involvement. I don't want anything. I want it to be completely
organic.
Yes.
If anybody is willing to push it or wants to push it, as I said, we're willing to work with that, and we will accept that quite willingly.
Whatever, voluntary involvement. If it's just, hey, we support this and push the message. If it's showing up, if it's whatever it is, it don't matter. A
couple of people have asked me. They was like, "Are you doing a Facebook group?" That, and I was like, honestly, I'm getting so bombarded. This thing blew up. I didn't expect it to go like that at all.
The real question
is, and I'm getting so bombarded, I couldn't do a Facebook group if I wanted to. And they're like, "Do you care if I do one?" And I'm like, "No, go for it."
The question being put to everybody is simply this: Are we ready as a people?
When systematic abuses have become too great for those that are living under the abusers to withstand, they will rise.
But this is what I want people that see any of this to ask themselves: Is it?
I've been watching this 51 years as of August 8th. This last month here, and I'm telling you, I've seen the progression. The people, we are past critical mass now.
This is just the question that the people that are seeing this need to ask. Are you ready? Is it time to?
I see what you're saying.
Like, this is just the question you have to ask yourself. Are you at that point now?
Well, to give them a little bit of morale, there's the numbers now are overwhelming. That's why this is working so well now. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
What we're doing has been tried so many times before. We're not doing anything different.
Right.
It's just people are ready now.
What I'm asking, and this is for the people that actually see it. Are we at the point now where we've gone through all the talking, we've gone through all the cycling of it? Are we ready to actually sit down and have the discussions and start putting into action some of the solutions that we've already talked about? It's time to separate the real from the fake. It's time to, for lack of a better term, money where the mouth is. Let's actually start putting things into action that are going to allow for us.
I'm telling them, the same people, that, and if you need a little bit of moral support, everybody's on board with this.
Jason, you are feedbacking quite hard.
Sorry. I'm muting it when I'm not talking or trying to say something there.
Well, we're also coming up on 2 hours, which is, typical for this kind of stuff, but we'll do more of it and okay, as often as it strikes us, anytime we want to get together and just start doing it. And I don't care if it becomes mass posting. It'll be on YouTube, and if I can get it back into Rumble, it'll go on Rumble.
Can I throw something? If we're cutting this off, can I throw something out there really quick before we go ahead and jet?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what political background you hail from. It doesn't matter really what your education is. We don't care. What we care about at this juncture is getting established lines of communication, unifying this nation in a way that we can protect the American citizens from our own government. Because unfortunately, that looks like the way it is going.
Look,
we have to come together to protect ourselves. And that is why we have a camping trip October 27th to 29th.
Nothing else at this point is going to matter if we can't survive what's coming, right? We have the common enemy, we have the common ground. Regardless of what we believe, we are all ultimately arguing with one another and fighting with one another for the same ends, which is the ability to live free and at liberty, to live your life. Okay, and that's all. The other bullshit that divides us can be put aside in the face of what we're actually dealing with. We can help one another. The question is, are we fed up enough to actually start implementing it, to put in the effort to start doing it? Or are we too demoralized to even make the effort? And I think at this point, at this juncture, I think we are actually not nearly as demoralized. We are not nearly ready to give up. So I think that there's enough people out there that are ready to do something that is going to be in the right step in the right direction, rather than something that is going to ultimately hurt us. We are in this to win, not just fucking do anything that would maybe make a difference in the short term. No, we want to win.
And the only way we're going to win is with the knowledge to survive after.
That requires
communities.
The very idea of liberty hinges upon self-sufficiency, community sufficiency, community interdependence on one another, because that's how you do it. That's how the founders managed to gain their independence, because they were largely self-sufficient within their communities. And we can do that.
They became a fist.
No matter where you are, and what we're trying to do is make that easier. We want to try and work together to make that easier. And all sorts of different people have knowledge, information, skills, and experience that combined could help get people to that point, so that when the chaos comes, it will not be nearly as great, and we will be able to withstand, and come out better than we were before. Because through hardship is where bonds are formed, and we're going to realize in all these little different divided things, and while we're cooperating and helping one another, what we're going to do is bond with one another and realize that a lot of these dumbass divisions that we have aren't really that important, because through combat, some of that shit don't matter through all this other shit. And we have to recognize the fact that we are in a fucking war, a psychological war, an informational war. We are in so many types of wars, and it's going to keep coming, and it's coming at every direction. The question is, are we going to come together and actually try to make a concerted effort to sustain ourselves and come out on top on this? And that's all anybody needs to ask themselves. You don't have to fucking commit your life, soul, or anything like that. The question is, are we ready for this? Are we ready to start taking those steps to be a part of the solution instead of bitching about the fucking problem?
Hell yeah.
I cannot think of anything better to say than anything I've already said, which kind of sucks. So I'm just going to say, Rob, get my number off Randall up there, and it was nice meeting all of you all.
And you as well. Have a good night, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good seeing you, Rob.
Rob's right. We have to come together. We have to come together. We have to unify. We have to be, as our founders were, we have to be a fist instead of splayed fingers.
Well,
Because if we don't come together, we're screwed.
I pledge my life, my fortunes, and my sacred honor on this cause. It's the hill I'll die on. You can say whatever form or way you want to say it, because there's a million and one ways to say it. But I'm committed to
I pledge my
liberty.
life, my liberty, and my sacred honor to protecting what our founders had in mind with this nation, and not the corrupted and degraded variant that has been installed by our current leadership.
Liberty and justice for fucking all, bro. That's it.
Hell yeah.
Liberty or death, because that's the options we're left with.
Give me liberty and give me death.
Anybody got anything else they want to add here?
I'm good, bro.
Give me liberty or give me pepperoni pizza.
It's not DiGiorno's. It's cyanide.
Give me liberty or give me ammo.
I'm here for all the simple folk. I'm here for everybody, even if you ain't simple. I agree. We need to be free, absolutely free, not partially free.
Well, that comes with living it. So let's help one another live it. Let's help one another figure out how to get to that point that we can not just talk but live it. We walk the walk, not talk the talk.
That's right.
Let's make it a reality. We create our own reality, or so they tell us. So let's create that reality.
Life is growth, and if we want to help each other live, we got to help each other grow.
Then let's do it.
Right. That's right.
Well, act accordingly, you know.
There's a million right ways.
Damn, I missed that. I ain't heard that in months.
All right, let me stop the recording.
Why don't we all